Hey everyone, welcome to the Super Bowl edition. And what's wild about this one is we're live.
We're here
in the same room.
Come on.
So we're hoping the microphone is working. So if it isn't, we're just wasted about, I don't know, however, 30 minutes we're going to be talking.
It'll all be good. Maybe better content.
Not maybe. So we're excited. We've been watching Super Bowls since we were kids. It's been decades and decades because we're old.
True.
And Peter is here with me. Welcome, Peter. Welcome to the channel. Well, you've been to the channel many times, but welcome back.
Thank you, man. It's great to be here. It's a good reason to be here, too. We got Super Bowl weekend.
Yeah,
we got some good stuff shaking down this weekend, man. This is going to be a good game, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I just made a video called really looking forward to the Super Bowl, or what was it called? Anyways, whatever I posted, it said Super Bowl will be great because really, in regards, I know there's a lot of people upset it's not Buffalo and it's not Washington, but really when you look at these two teams, they really deserve to be there. They earned their spot in.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I know that Bills fans are still salty that the reffing was awful. I get it, but that's what losing teams do, right? They just complain about reffing all the time. But there's a case, isn't there, about the Kansas City Chiefs getting a lot of phantom calls?
I'm the wrong guy to ask. I mean, the Bills, I feel you, okay? But I'm also a Charger fan, man. I'm a Charger fan, and this has been a thing. So I don't know if they get the calls or if they sort of if things just roll their way. They're a winning team. They have a winning coach. They have a winning culture there. They have a quarterback who doesn't lose in big games and big situations. And sometimes the calls end up going your way when you're that refined a team. So this is a tough team to play against. They seem to pull it out when they're up against it in a playoff game. When they need a final drive, they just seem to pull it together. So calls tend to go your way when you're that qualified.
Yeah, like Jordan got calls.
LeBron
gets calls.
LeBron gets calls.
Yeah.
He wanted,
well, he also flops a lot too. But anyways,
okay. Another show.
Do you guys know that we do an NBA? No, we don't. We don't. Okay. We want your interaction today. We're going to be talking about who we're cheering for. Also, we're going to make our predictions at the end, or maybe in the middle. I don't know. But I want you to post, if you're watching, post your Super Bowl predictions in the live chat or in the comments later. We'd really appreciate that. We want to hear from you. So that would be great. And then it's just fun to look back and say who was right, who was wrong.
Yeah.
And we'll go from there. So just a reminder, everyone, if you haven't, hit the like and subscribe, but also follow me on X, which is Twitter, Facebook. No, not Facebook. Yeah, Facebook, TikTok. I'm on TikTok. You know that,
man? You're a cultured gentleman.
I'm on Twitch and on YouTube. Of course, on YouTube. Hit the like and subscribe, everyone. I'd really appreciate it. But the big question I want to ask you first, Peter, is this one: who are you cheering for on Sunday?
And this is a very tough question for me. This is a very tough question because, as I said, anybody that's seen me knows that I'm a Charger fan. That is my team. Hard to cheer for Kansas City. However, there is a certain thing that I have a measurable respect for Patrick Mahomes and what he's accomplished, for Andy Reid, all that sort of thing. Like, it's a great organization. You have to respect it, and it's hard for me. I have to keep saying it's like Packers, Chicago, Detroit, all that sort of stuff. You still have to deal with all this stuff. However, we have not had a three-peat. And this has not been done in the NFL. This is history in the making right here if it happens on Sunday. So there's a little bit of me that goes, hey, do you know what? To be witness to that, to see the greatness that comes out of this. I think that when Mahomes, if he does this, especially if he wins another Super Bowl after this, you start turning into Jordan-esque talk rather than the greatest quarterback talk. The other side of it is Saquon Barkley. I'm a huge Barkley fan. I want to see this guy win. I think he deserves a win. He went through his years in New York. He did his thing. They made their decision on him. They didn't bet on him.
It's awful.
And for him to come back, rush for 2,000 yards, literally have to be at least considered in the MVP thought process and win a Super Bowl. I don't know. Sometimes you just let your play on the field do your speaking for you. And this might be the greatest season of all time for someone who was let go, given up on, and came back with a 2,000-yard season, maybe a Super Bowl to go with it. Come on now. So you got to cheer for. So who am I cheering for? I kind of think I lean towards Philly, but I'm not super disappointed to see the history of 3 championships in a row, which had not been done by Brady, had not been done by Manning or Elway or Terry Bradshaw. So it's history in the making either way.
Yeah. And I feel the same way, like, because our teams aren't in it,
or
there's not a rival team. Well, your rival team's in it. I'm surprised. You see, this is the good content we get, because you're sitting here and you're saying, you know what? Even though the Chiefs are in our division, I still have respect from that. I think that's respectful. Okay, so I'm cheering for the.
I don't like them.
Yeah, I'm cheering for the Eagles, but I think Kansas City's going to win. And so you'll see that in my prediction, but I don't know. That's kind of where I'm feeling. It's like I keep picking against the stinking Chiefs, and I keep getting like, why did I keep picking against Brady? I picked against Brady all the time. I shouldn't, and I kept getting wrong. And I'm like, no, this year is going to be different. So you and I did a video at the very beginning of the year, and I said, we talked about, is the Kansas City Chiefs going to three-peat? And if it is a dynasty, the answer is yes. But we said at the beginning of the year, will they repeat at the very beginning?
Yeah.
And we said that they're going to win. Okay. Then the playoffs come on, and I picked someone else. I picked the Bills to win. Why did I change?
I don't know, man. Inconsistent, sporadic,
pressure,
ADHD. I don't. There's many reasons. We've gone over them many years, and we both we waffle. There's age coming. This is for those of you that don't know that Trev is entering. I don't want to tell you how old he is, but he's entering his fifth decade. So that's coming up anytime.
I'm so
soon.
glad you didn't say it.
I didn't say a word.
No, and so are you saying like maybe I got dementia?
I'm not saying you don't have dementia.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
are we going to remember this conversation later?
No.
Okay. Sorry, we probably shouldn't make those jokes because someone's going to have family that. Anyways,
for any of you that have,
we apologize in advance.
Dementia lives matter.
That's true. Okay, so you're cheering for both teams for different reasons.
Yeah, I'm not just like
when you get in the game, like what are you literally gonna like cheer for both? Or?
No, I personally want to see Philly win. I think that Philly offers something like they've been there. They've beat the Chiefs. They've lost to the Chiefs. They're going to play them again here. This is kind of like the rubber match a little bit. And the Saquon thing to me is actually it's kind of close to the heart for what he went through and what he's gone through and his rehabilitation. Like we don't even talk about what the guy went through injury wise, and he's come back as a better back than he was when he started. So like, okay, so there's that. My prediction though, we
can't say the score yet.
No score. Or we're not going prediction.
Not yet.
Okay,
we're just doing who we're cheering for.
I just thought because you went prediction.
I just said that I'm cheering for the Eagles, but I think Kansas City is going to win. But I'm going to give the actual score prediction.
Is there anybody other than us about this age that we remind you of the two old Muppets?
I love those guys.
Yeah. We're up in the top, like they sit up there in the little booth.
And I was supposed to make a graphic with you and my face in it, and then I'll do that another time.
Next video.
Okay, so let's talk about Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
And this was the question I've been asking for weeks. Slow down Saquon Barkley. Well, slow down Saquon Barkley. Is that even possible? Because really the Kansas City Chiefs need to do that in order to have a chance to win this game, in my opinion, because they scored, 7 rushing touchdowns with Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, and was it the backup?
It wasn't Gainwell. I think it was the other dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 7 rushing touchdowns. So basically it's a bigger question than just Barkley. Can they slow down their running game?
Yeah.
Right? Can they make him try to pass? Can Jalen Hurts beat them in the passing game if they slow down their running game, and especially Saquon Barkley? Do you think it's possible that the Kansas City Chiefs will do that?
Well, I think you can slow him down. I think you can create something with Saquon Barkley. Teams have shown that. The challenging part with Barkley is that even when you slow him down for like a half, he'll have that breakout. So there's been some good defenses that he's played against, and teams even in the playoffs that have sort of started slowing him down a little bit, and then he gets that breakaway run. He runs for 65 and a touchdown, and that breaks the back of that team. So you can slow them down. Kansas City's defense is quite stout against the run. They're a good defensive front, a very good defensive front, and good linebacking core. Like they have good support in the back end and that sort of stuff. So you can play that way. Kansas City does have a defense that stops the run well. But this is Saquon Barkley. This is a different cat. So you also have to throw into it that Philadelphia's also got an amazing offensive line.
Yeah.
And they block really well for this guy, and he's going to have some success. I think that when you're Kansas City, you just go, hey, it's Saquon Barkley. He will have some success. No big plays. And we have to be ready for him in the third quarter, because it seems to me he's one of those backs that gets stronger as the game goes on.
Yeah.
He doesn't start weakening and he doesn't want goal line. He almost gets angry later. And so you see him play. Can they slow him down? Yes. Can they keep him off the scorecard? I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, that would be definitely a key. And every week they've said you've got to slow down. Saquon Barkley keeps getting 150 to 200 to 300 yards, or 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns. So this is where I wonder. Now, you're right. If we think about the last couple games, the Kansas City Chiefs shut down Joe Mixon. And then last week they played Buffalo. And so James Cook had 85 yards and I believe 2 touchdowns. But Josh Allen only had 30-something rushing yards, I believe, if I got that right. So I'm sitting there going, if someone can slow down Barkley, it might be the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Because they have been traditionally doing that to everyone, or most people this year, and especially the playoffs.
Yeah.
So that's kind of one of the reasons why I'm like, I think the Chiefs are going to win, because they're going to slow down Barkley. Now, granted, the tush push, Buffalo sucks at that.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Most teams do.
And it's not a tush push. And then he comes over and then pushes, and it didn't work how many times, and then everyone's complaining. Yeah. He got it. It's like, well, it wasn't conclusive. Anyways, if they do it like Philadelphia, like that, getting that 4th down keeps the drive going, of course, rocket science here, 101. But that kept it going. So the Jalen Hurts piece to it too, it's like, I don't think you're going to get the Josh Allen huge big plays, but Jalen Hurts is one of the best rushing quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you have, anytime that you have somebody like a really great back and you have the threat of somebody like an AJ Brown, the quarterback's going to get opportunities. And here's a guy that's a great athlete. He's actually had some time to rest up. He was a little bit banged up coming out of the end of the regular season. I think he looks better right now that coming into this game as far as health goes. And the thing about Barkley, just really touching on that again, if you give Barkley the ball 27 times or 30 times or something like that, even think about it. Even if you stop him 24 times, that's 6 rushes that he breaks out past the linebacker level. And that's a problem. So those pieces. And then if he breaks one, Jalen Hurts becomes even more effective. Now, all of a sudden, your play action and the defense has to respect Barkley. And then it opens up the game out to AJ or for Jalen Hurts. People aren't really talking about a guy like Dallas Goedert, who could have a very, very big game. We're talking about the other tight end and Taylor Swift's boyfriend, and we're not talking about Dallas Goedert, who, the dog is a dog, and we don't really see it, we don't talk about it, but you're going to have multiple catch. You're going to have at least 6 or 7 catches tomorrow, or on Sunday from Dallas Goedert. Yeah.
No, and I think that's good. Also, Devontae Smith, stud.
Yeah.
Stud. So I know they're going to try to take away the run so they have the passing game. But the funny thing is they have a passing game. It's just that then that's what they're trying to do. They want the ball to go in Jalen Hurts' hands instead of his legs or Barkley's legs, so to speak.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyways, I just think it's interesting because they still can be effective in the passing game.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, there's the running game opens up the passing game.
Yeah.
If you stop the run, it makes playing pass defense a lot easier.
Yeah.
Right. So
that's the funny part about the last game. It's like they couldn't stop the run, so they literally just kept running it in 7 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah.
It's like that's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, when's the last time you've heard of a team getting 7 rushing touchdowns?
Well, why would you stop? The thing is, if it can't stop the run, if they can't stop it, it's good ball security. You don't have to worry about interceptions and turnovers for the most part. And if they're not stopping it, why, that's how you play the game and score.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the keys I think that, like, I still feel Philly has a chance. I'm not saying it's just but my thing is the Philadelphia defense, will they cause turnovers?
Mm-hmm.
Because that was some of their success in the playoffs is like Braun, for example, the punch out of the ball.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And so I'm wondering, are they going to win that turnover battle? And then are they going to cause, like, let's say 2-3 fumbles?
Mm-hmm.
That changes the whole trajectory of the game.
Yeah.
Because they both have good coaching. They both have good defenses. They both have good offenses. And it's just like, this is going to be such an awesome game to watch.
Yeah.
But I keep thinking about that Philly defense is the one that causes the turnovers more than the Kansas City defense. I feel like Kansas City is more the bend, don't break.
Yep. Yeah, they are. That's Kansas City's kind of thing. They play a really, really surprising defense as well. So they will blitz when you're not expecting to blitz, and they'll blitz in situations they probably shouldn't blitz in, which catches everybody off guard, and that changes the protections, yada yada yada. But I would, like, Zach Bond is going to be a key in this for Philadelphia. So linebacking, he's either going to be like a spy on Patrick Mahomes, or he's probably going to have certain coverages or certain patterns from Kelsey that he's going to be covering. So he's going to be a real key in the middle of that defense. This guy seems to be, there's games and he seems to be all over the field all the time. So that is a big piece of this game to me. And then Cooper DeJean as well. He's not only their slot corner playing inside there, but he's going to take away something from them, and he also does punt and kick returns as well. So potentially another little game breaker for Philadelphia. So I think that it's going to be a very interesting. I think they've all played each other. Like, the thought process is they kind of have a certain way of approaching. Like for Philadelphia, you kind of want to make sure you take away Kelsey, and for Kansas City, let's take away Saquon as much as possible and make them beat us another way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think both defenses have enough pieces, the Trent McDuffies of the world and stuff, to play corner out on somebody like AJ Brown. And so I think you end up with a very interesting game. There's a lot of there's storylines all over this game for sure. Yeah,
and I think for me, the reason why I'm going to continue to pick the Chiefs to win this game is this. They've been there before.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is like, for example, we've talked about this. The Kansas City Chiefs have been to 7 straight AFC championship games. 7.
Yeah.
How many Super Bowls have they been to? It's like, okay, we've been here before, where they're not going to get caught in the lights and the pressure and all that kind of stuff. It's like, this is another day at the Kansas City office. I mean. And so, for example, like this stat here, Patrick Mahomes' last 6 seasons, 2019 says he won Super Bowl, 2020 made the Super Bowl, 2021 made the AFC Championship game, 2022 won the Super Bowl, 2023 won the Super Bowl, 2024, which is this year, he's in the Super Bowl, might three-peat.
Yeah.
So last week, Patrick Mahomes did those fake handoffs and then ran himself, which they didn't see coming.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, this is the guy who's supposed to throw the ball and be accurate and lead the team, and he's doing it with his legs, and you're like, what the heck?
Yeah.
So give me some thoughts about Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. We talked a lot about the Eagles.
I honestly, I think it actually starts with Andy Reid. Andy Reid is absolutely a mastermind on offense. like to me, Andy Reid is the Bill Belichick of offense. So Belichick, you know, back in the day with Lawrence Taylor and stuff like that, he was a defensive coordinator, of course, for the New York Giants. Became a head coach. He played this certain style of ball. It takes away a certain thing, makes you beat him a different way. Well, Andy Reid is the same way with offenses. So he has a creative side to him that just even in formations and stuff like that. We saw a couple Super Bowls ago the snow cones formation that they pulled out of it just for the sake of it, and they really haven't used it since. Will we see something like that again? So Patrick Mahomes has the ability to be creative, and Patrick Mahomes is a creative quarterback. So it's not all beautiful. Like his technique is not like the Tom Brady sort of throwing stuff. It's going to be a lot of underhand stuff. It's going to be a lot of like scramble stuff, throw it over the top stuff. He jumps and throws. He does, and Andy Reid allows that in his offense because of the creativeness of Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes can beat you in so many ways. Being a Charger fan, there's so many different ways that he can beat you. And he isn't Lamar Jackson when it comes to running, but dog can run. He's gonna get rushing yards, and he always finds that marker. He's always inside that marker. You're gonna see him every single time. You'll never see him not stretch the ball out to reach for that first down marker. He's in the game. He's very, very smart. He's an intelligent player, and he does what it takes to win. I don't love his stats as a quarterback. Patrick Mahomes is going to be potentially a three-peat Super Bowl champion, not up for MVP. This team lost a game this year, and this quarterback is not up for MVP. But you give him a one-possession game, we'll talk about that in a little bit. This guy is a champion.
Yeah.
And that's hard to bet against. So this is Canada's version of Rob Gronkowski, because they both picked other teams other than the Chiefs the previous 2 years. And this year, both Gronkowskis.
Gronk, what's wrong with us?
Are picking the Chiefs.
We were both.
You're both picking the Chiefs this year for the third
Smart
time.
move, Gronk.
Yeah, he said very similarly. I'm surprised you didn't see that interview, because he said almost something exactly like you said. Hey, I've done it before. I've done it twice. They fooled me. Not again. It's Kansas City. So this I'm gonna call you Gronk for the rest of the show, man.
You know, it's a sucky thing too, because you and I collect jerseys.
Yeah.
And so obviously, being a Packers fan, I have tons of Packers jerseys, but I used to have a Eagles jersey and I sold it. But my friends, I have lots of friends who are Kansas City fans, and they bought me a Kansas City hat. So this video, I was going to wear the Kansas City hat and the Eagles jersey, but I sold it.
Oh.
So that would have been funny. But I didn't realize Gronk and I are so smart that we're so stupid we're smart.
Yeah, no, you both have good moments. That's for darn sure.
I mean, he's got a couple more Super Bowls than I do.
Yeah.
But anyways, congrats, Gronk. Okay. So I don't know what else. So here's the thing about Kansas City, though, that no one's talking about. We talk about Travis Kelce, and we should, because he's arguably the greatest tight end of all time.
That is another show, because that we could talk about that.
Yeah. So there's some great ones, and so but he's in the conversation. I think Gronk's in the conversation as well. But there's a couple guys that are really in that conversation.
Tony Gonzalez, Antonio Gates. Come on now.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that.
Hey, Hall of Fame, baby.
There's nothing wrong with that.
He just got inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
Come on now.
But So anyways, he's arguably in that conversation. He might be clearly that guy. It depends on where he's land.
Yep.
But what they're not talking about is the guys who are there, and it's because they're not as good as they used to be, kind of thing. Like there's no Tyreek Hill, but it's Hopkins, and he's still good.
Yeah.
But the guy that no one's talking about, of course, that they wouldn't be talking about is, imagine if they had Rashee Rice.
Yeah.
That kid is amazing.
Yeah.
And so he's out, he's not playing, but they just like Xavier Worthy with his speed is insane.
Yeah.
And so we talk about the Kelce and the Mahomes, and we might talk about Pacheco or Kareem Hunt running the ball, which, by the way, Kareem Hunt, that's a great story in the way, like, this guy has done nothing but be productive in the NFL and has had rough moments, and, and I don't want to defend him or not. I'm just saying, but as a football player, very good.
Yeah.
Very good. We don't talk enough about them.
Yeah.
All these other guys overshadow. What are your thoughts about the running game and these wide receivers. I missed a couple wide receivers. I'll just talk about Hopkins and Xavier Worthy, but they got other ones too.
Oh yeah. Juju Smith-Schuster is there. That's a tongue twister for me, but I think that Isaiah Pacheco hasn't been quite the same. He's been challenged since he came back from the broken leg. But between him and Kareem Hunt, that's a pretty good 1-2 punch for getting stuff done. I don't think that they're going to suffer in the running game, and sometimes Kansas City is good at using that and just saying, hey, it doesn't matter if we have stats on our running side, we're going to keep running the ball because it makes the defense have to respect the fact that we're running the ball. Then they have the options. DeAndre Hopkins is going to be a very interesting piece to this because he has played in, I believe, 7 or 8 total playoff games, most of them with Houston. He's had okay stats in them. But still has that game breaker in him. This guy still makes unbelievable catch, got massive hands, and can make the really difficult catches, doesn't mind going across the middle, will catch balls in the corner. So they're difficult to defend. And then when you talk about Worthy, I love Worthy in the sense that they got, Tyreek Hill went to Miami, and you think that, who are they going to be without Tyreek Hill? Well, they went and got a guy that's actually, Tyreek, if you're listening, this isn't a call out, maybe faster than Tyreek Hill. And what they do with him is the exact same thing that they did with Tyreek Hill, like clear out. So he's going to run his go routes. He's going to run across the field. And what that does to our defense is you're seeing this guy streak across the field with 4.2 speed, and you got to deal with him. So now you got Smith-Schuster underneath, you have Kelsey underneath, you have DeAndre Hopkins out there, and you have a run game. And so to defend all of it is very difficult. And defensively, Philadelphia has a good group, and we can talk about that a little bit. But I actually think we talk a lot about the stars, we talk about the tight ends, we talk about the running backs, talk about the wide receivers and the quarterbacks and all that sort of thing. I think this game is absolutely one in the trenches. I think this is defensive line versus offensive line on both sides of the ball, and the team that runs the best on Sunday wins the Super Bowl. That's not to say it can't happen a different way, but when you dominate the line of scrimmage in big games like this, that's probably a 1-score game one way or the other. When you own the trench, generally that's the team that wins. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, generally. I just think I don't think there's any doubt that the Philadelphia Eagles are going to get more rushing yards than the Kansas City Chiefs. So anyway, okay. Let's talk about the trenches for a moment.
Yeah.
These are the two studs that no one's talking about enough. Well, they talk about, but not enough. Chris Jones, Jalen Carter on opposite sides of the ball.
Yep.
Can wreck game plans.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So Chris Jones, when they re-signed him, I'm like, oh, gee, they're probably going to win the Super Bowl again.
Yeah.
Right. He's a mountain of a man.
Yep.
Incredible football player. I don't know why he's always crying on the sideline. I don't get it. Did you understand what was going on there?
Does it matter?
It doesn't matter.
The man can cry. It's okay.
Yeah. I mean, real men cry.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
But it seems like he's doing a little more often. Maybe it's tears of joy.
It could be tears. Hey,
good. That's okay.
Look where he's heading. I think that one of the keys to Chris Jones is George Karlaftis. And what happens with Chris Jones is when they sit there and they chip him and they sort of keep another guy with him, you got another guy on the other end that people don't talk about that is literally Pro Bowl caliber. And that is a guy that is going to benefit greatly from whatever they do to try and stop Chris Jones. And then if you go single on Chris Jones, I don't think you can do that all game long, even if it's Lane Johnson. It doesn't matter where he's lined up, sort of thing. He's usually going to be lined up over the guard. But whatever he's lined up against, you're in trouble. So I think Chris Jones, he's obviously a Pro Bowl player again. He's an all-pro this year again. But what you have a player like that, we also have a fella named Khalil Mack. It causes the offensive line to have to deal with that guy, and it opens up the other side of the line. So I think that in the game on Sunday, I think Karlaftis actually benefits greatly from them trying to stop Chris Jones. So, but Kansas City is going to get at least 3 sacks. For sure. Doesn't matter. I'm not saying it's Jones more than anyone else, but they're going to get 3 sacks or more for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But the Jalen Carter conversation piece. So he's really good.
Like that's a game wrecker, dude.
Yeah. So I've gotten into some arguments with some Eagles fans, and I don't really I think he's really good. Don't get me wrong. but I don't think of like Jalen Carter as like Hall of Fame guy yet. Like I haven't seen enough to say he's going to the Hall of Fame. He's still young, so I'm going to give him some like real young. But do you feel like he's on the way to be like a Warren Sapp kind of guy in the way of that effective, or is it more like he gets the odd sack and the odd pass deflection? Like what is it, or stops a guy like stops the running game? That's you know what I mean.
That's the key. That's the key. So yeah. So to me, you don't. Sometimes when people what doesn't show up on stat sheets is players who can close the A-B gap. So the running, you can't really run inside with a guy like Jalen Carter. I think Jalen Carter absolutely is a Hall of Famer. I think the kid turns into something like that. Do I
well, you have to have the numbers too, right?
But he's also not an end. He's a tackle, and so it's like his job isn't sacks as much as it is stopping the run, like clogging up the holes that they're trying to open. But then you end up in the other side, and what that does is it opens up for Milton Williams, who people don't even Milton Williams who, like if you're not a fan of the NFC or know the Philadelphia Eagles very well, this is a guy that he doesn't have a household name. But this is a guy who will also benefit the same way Karlaftis will. He is going to get his share as well. And I think it's because they're going to clog out the middle. I love Jalen Carter. I think that was a great pick by the Eagles.
Yep, totally.
And I think that he's a game wrecker for the trench game coming up. And I think he's going to show it at the Super Bowl when they do it. So I'm going to disagree a little bit on that. I think he's one of the top 3 defensive tackles in the NFL.
Yeah, and he could be.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean he's going to be Hall of Famer. But if they win the Super Bowl, that's
a start.
Yeah, he could definitely. He's on his way, and so maybe he is. And I'm not saying I'm definitely right on that. That's kind of my feeling at the moment.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, so what secondary do you like better? The Eagles secondary or the Kansas City Chiefs secondary?
Wow, I
mean, we might as well just rip the Band-Aid off, right?
We
didn't talk about this before. I understand.
If we're talking about corners, first of all, there is an argument to be made. There's a few names to be made, but is Trent McDuffie not the best cornerback in the NFL? Like I don't know. Is he the best corner for coverage in the NFL? And so when we talk about that, if you take away a guy like AJ Brown, and they have other weapons, I'm not saying they don't, but if you could say, hey, we can take one guy and remove one guy off their offense and a star, that's what McDuffie does. And he is a ball hawk. When the ball is in the air, between the safety and him, I think that he is an amazing player. I love everything about his game. I believe he came from Washington and was a star there as well. Almost won a national championship with that team. So he's a winner, and Kansas City ends up with him, of course. On the other side of it, I do like the Cooper DeJean thing. I think that the way that he plays defense is a different kind of defense. He's not a corner that takes that star receiver out there, but he covers a myriad of stuff that they bring across the middle and through sort of shorter patterns and stuff like that. I think that you have those two pieces in the corners. And then on the other side of it is Leo Channel from Kansas City, who's going to probably be all over Mahomes, all over Jalen Hurts, kind of like just on it all the time, and kind of watching everything that he does over there. So I think that they both have really solid lines. They're going to mess it up. I think they have a really good linebacking core, and they have like players in the back end that I think these defenses to me are a little bit of a wash, honestly. And I think Philadelphia's defense on paper is better, but in the playoffs, Kansas City just comes to play on defense. They do it at the right time. They just stop you when they need to stop you. And I think you said a little bit earlier, the whole bend not break thing, that is the Kansas City Chiefs. And if they need to give up 19 points because they're going to score 21, that's what they do. If they need to give up 27 points because Mahomes is going to score 30, that's what they do. They're not this great scoring defense and you kind of like all the stats pop out at you and stuff like that. They just win. So I'm leaning towards, now you're starting to hear me kind of lean towards the end of what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
So I think it's a wash for defenses. I don't know. What do you think of all of that?
I have this, it's just this weird thing. Like, I feel like the Philadelphia Eagles have this better defense in theory, but in practicality, the bend don't break. It's the coaching. It's the scheme. I feel like they're going to find a way to be effective.
Steve Bagnola. Yep.
Yeah. So,
yeah. I like the Zach Bond thing too, by the way.
Yeah.
He's
a great player.
Yeah. Yeah. So that could be a little bit of a game changer as well. So
again, comes down to turnovers, comes down to stopping them on certain downs. I like them both. I don't know. I would lean probably the Eagles would have a better defense, but we'll find out.
We will. It's true.
Okay, so let's get into, again, just a reminder, if you haven't posted yet your Super Bowl prediction, please do. And then let's get into it. So we're going to do Rev Trev and Peter's Super Bowl. I said Peter, not Peter's. Let me change that. Peter's Super Bowl predictions. Okay. And let me start because I didn't write down yours. I didn't talk to you about this. My apologies. This is my prediction. Chiefs 31, Eagles 27. Now that I look at it, I think I should change that number. I think we're going to do Chiefs 29, Eagles 24. Okay, let's do that. Okay.
Wow.
So that's my I have this feeling that the defense is gonna actually what I want to do is do it even lower because I think there's gonna be like a defensive battle. But I'll just play it safe here. Okay. So this is the Rev Trev one. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to make one for you because I'm going to put yours in as well. So my bad.
Okay. No, that's all good. So there he is. That's
mine. There. That's mine right there. Okay. So I'm cheering for the Eagles. I'm hoping it's 35-34 Eagles, but
yes,
that doesn't mean anything.
That's what's going to happen. My piece, I've been saying it. We've talked about this outside of this. We've talked about today. There's a really interesting stat. Like, so some of the stats I hear these days are ridiculous, and it doesn't make any sense to me. And I wonder why we keep some stats. There's one that I heard this week that is unbelievable, and that is in playoff / Super Bowl games, in 2-minute drives, in which we call it at the end of the game, to either tie the game or win the game with a 1-score game. We have a player like Tom Brady. I believe his number is he was 5 for 9. So he was given that opportunity 9 times in his career, and 5 times he was successful in that last drive. Currently, Patrick Mahomes in the same situation is 7 for 7. He has not been in a situation where he was given the ball with less than 2 minutes left in the game to tie or win the game and not succeeded.
Wow.
You heard that right. I encourage you to look that up. I heard it and I was flipping through things going, what are we talking about? That's crazy talk. But that is the case. So for me, being a fan of the AFC West, a Charger fan in particular, I have played this song too many times. We have personally been at 2 games.
Yes.
Where we were like, hey, this is it. We're here. And they came back, tied it, and then went into overtime the second time. The first time we were there, they just won with a field goal at the end of the game with 3 seconds left or whatever it was. So I see that happening. I see Philadelphia being in the game. I see it being very, very hard-fought battle. My prediction is Kansas City Chiefs 24, Philadelphia Eagles 21.
Oh. Surprised but not surprised.
Barkley does get.
So this is what I was
touchdowns,
thinking about.
but-
This is going to be a lower scoring game. Yeah, you're probably right.
No, we'd love to see an entertaining game. I think it's going to be entertaining either way. I think you're going to see good quality football. I think you're going to see some trick plays in there. I think that everyone's going to get their money's worth. Well, it depends how much you pay for the ticket. But I do see it coming down to a single possession, whether it's a touchdown that they have to score or if the game is tied. There is potential. If the game goes into overtime, I would call it the other way. I would call it 30-27 Chiefs. But given the opportunity, I've experienced too much to bet against Mahomes in a one-score game, and I believe that that's what this game is going to be.
So one thing that you and I talk about when it comes to football, and especially Super Bowl, is we don't care about everything else that surrounds the Super Bowl. Like I don't care who's the halftime show.
I don't even know who the halftime show is.
Yeah, is it Kendrick Lamar? I don't know. I don't even know who it is.
Oh no, it is Kendrick Lamar, because I heard somebody say that was as close as Lamar was ever going to get to the Super Bowl.
Okay, so and then I don't care how many times they show Taylor Swift.
I love you, Lamar.
And then there's cool betting odds. It's like how many times they actually show her.
Yeah.
Over end or 6 or 4 or whatever it is during the game.
Yeah. Swifty. Mm-hmm.
Right. And so I know that like there's all the Swifties and they've changed the whole concourse of this is going to be the Super Bowl breaks its own record every year for the most views. But I think this year, especially, it's going to go even higher because of the whole Swiftie. And they've been there last 2 years, but I don't care about that. What I care about is the football game.
Yep. Me too.
So you're not going to hear us talk a lot about those other things. We don't care.
It really
if you care, that's great, but we do not care.
Yeah.
But we just want to talk about the game. And
I hope that one of the 5 or 6 times that they go to the box to show Travis's girlfriend that she's going to get a beer or a hot dog. It's like you can just see it panning. You can see the thing panning, like
in the suite.
Yeah, just like, oh no, she's in the back. She's getting punch.
Oh, she went to the bathroom.
Pull the camera. She's in the toilet. That to me would be entertaining. That'd be about the only entertaining thing about seeing someone else's girlfriend. I don't care how famous she is in the world. Travis Kelce is why I'm going to a game. Like if I'm going to go see the greatest tight end of all time, I really don't care who his girlfriend is or his wife. I honestly, God bless you. I hope your marriage is successful, all that sort of stuff. That is not why I'm watching.
Yeah, so my daughter's a huge Swiftie, okay?
Great.
And she's probably like, oh, will they propose after the game? Or my wife might say it, because my wife has I'm cheering for Taylor Swift's boyfriend. That's her shirt that she was wearing tonight. Which I'm like, it's so annoying that she's like, oh, I'm a Kansas City Chiefs fan. I'm like, what? Look at this, guys. Look at this. This is who we cheer for. That's it. Yeah. Can I kick my wife out of my own house just for that? I'm just kidding.
You can for a weekend.
Just kidding.
You can for a weekend, fellas.
Just joke. I don't think my boys would like that joke either.
Me out of your house.
Oh, yeah. By the way, it's great having you here. We live about 6 to 8 hours apart now.
Yeah.
We used to live an hour apart, an hour and a half apart. So it's just fun to have you in the same room,
dude. We're
Super Bowl weekend.
It's kind of the way it should be, and it sort of didn't. We didn't actually plan this up front, but the way that it worked out, the way that the schedules all worked out, and stuff like that, we get to spend a little bit of Super Bowl weekend together, and that's not very often that we actually do that. We're usually looking at each other on a screen. So that's
also. Cool. So we don't want to talk about all those other things. What about food? What's your favorite foods to eat at a Super Bowl party? We make this awesome chili every year.
Yeah.
But I'm a big I love dry ribs. I love potato skins, all that kind of stuff.
Wings got to be part of it. Yeah. Yeah. Wings got to be part of it. And I think legit nachos. Don't waste your time with all the chips, because if there's not at least as much stuff on the chips as the chips themselves, it's a waste. So I love all the different flavors that you can put onto nachos, and you got to have great dips with it. Whatever you do for the Super Bowl, whatever you're doing, whether it's wings, chili, chip, nachos, whatever the case is, it's got to be super. So you can't go in there and go, hey, I'm going to have the nachos that I had for the wild card weekend. No, you don't do that. You go in there and you go, it's the Super Bowl. We're going to have ourselves some super nachos.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
And all over the States, there's going to be some great food being made.
Oh, dude.
Like, I just think about, okay, if we're going to have nachos, you got like having guacamole would be nice.
Yeah.
A good guacamole is good. I don't know. I just think like everything.
I did 4 years ago. I did a buffalo beef burger that was probably, I believe I used 2 pounds of meat. I only ate half of it. I used 2 pounds of meat. I had 3 different kinds of cheese on it. I had peppers. I had onions. I had everything sauteed all over it. I had all kinds of fresh ingredients going on it. A fresh made bun. So it's just bigger. It's just badder than what you'd usually. It wasn't a buffalo burger. It was a big super buffalo burger, and that's what you have to do for a Super Bowl.
You're a good cook, though. So I'm like, I should have went to your house.
It was delish, dog. It was so good, man. It was so good. I put an egg on it too, by the way. It was good.
What? That sounds awful.
Oh, it's so amazing.
Is it like runny?
Just a little bit. You don't quite. It's not like over easy. It's a little bit more than over easy.
But when
you bite there, it does have to ooze because it brings texture into it.
I feel like I'm gonna throw up.
You guys, this is a whole another show. We start getting cuisine. I get excited.
But it's so great to have like brisket, you know, like some kind of steak.
Something you don't usually do. Yeah. Lasagna, amazing. You get the big couple pans of lasagna with some buddies and stuff like that. Come on now.
I should do that.
That's got some good flavor in it right there.
Yeah, I haven't prepared for that. We just did the chili thing.
Oh.
Would the Costco lasagnas count? It's not as good. No, it's not super. Okay. So, anyways, that's our show for today. Lots of tomfoolery. But thanks so much for being here,
dude. Thanks for having me. Thanks, you guys. And enjoy the game more than anything. Doesn't matter what we're saying in the sense that we're just like you. We got a 50-50 shot of all of it. Just enjoy the game. I hope it's a great game. I hope that everybody out there enjoys it. It's been a pleasure hanging out with you, man. And
it's a bittersweet moment because it's it's the last game. It's the biggest game of the year, but then the season's over. And that sucks. Right. And so, like, for example, there's lots of people right now, they're talking about, hey, I want to talk about coaching. I want to talk about the draft. I'm like, I don't want to talk about that because that's what loser teams do. Ooh. I just want to talk about the playoffs. Right. Like, my team's not in it anymore. We made the playoffs. Your team made the playoffs, but we got eliminated. But I just wanted to focus on this season because we have months and months and months and months to talk about the draft, who got fired, who got hired. Plus, by the way, I'm really annoyed that coaches can get interviewed during the playoffs.
Yes.
I think that they should stop doing that. It's just absolutely stupid.
Yeah.
Just focus on the season itself and just go from there. Like, fire whoever you want to fire, but don't hire anyone.
Yep.
That's just my personal opinion. That's another video for another day. But
hey, you're absolutely right. And if this is the last video for the 2024-25 season for Super Bowl 59 in 2025, we have to make note of this, that the draft, although we're not talking about it yet, is in Green Bay, Wisconsin this year.
Right.
It has not been there, believe it or not, football fans, since I believe 1940. We have not had a draft in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Really? Right? Lambeau Field, we've done nothing. This is the first time since then. So for you also do have the draft coming up, which is kind of exciting as well. But it is about the Super Bowl. That is what we're worried about this weekend. That is what we're concerning ourselves with. And it's going to be an amazing game.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for watching. That's our predictions. That's our thoughts. That's our ramblings. That's our craziness. And have a good day. Go. Well, no, I'm cheering for the Eagles. So go Eagles. Go fly, Eagles, fly. You're going Chiefs Kingdom.
Yeah. Yes, okay. It is.
All right. Peace.